This is not a story about me. This is a story about the Ukraine that Zelenskyy created and about the repercussions that tens of thousands of people in Ukraine have experienced and are experiencing. My name is Dmytruk Artem. Faith is eternal. Faith is glorious. Our faith is orthodox. I'm an orthodox person, a patriot of my country, an athlete, an entrepreneur, a public and political figure. At the moment, a member of the Ukrainian parliament. In August of 2024, I was forced to leave the territory of Ukraine due to the persecution by Zelenskyy. The Zelenskyy regime has tried to kill me several times for my position and for my social and political activities. No one has seen the photos or videos that you will see until this day. My story is the story of those very camps, torture camps, that the Zelenskyy regime is organizing in relation to people. That in Ukraine, there was an SBU concentration camp through which more than 300 people passed. This concentration camp was organized by the head of the SBU, Ivan Bakanov, and his first deputy, Moluk. This concentration camp existed right under their office and specialized in delivering various kinds of people there in a procedural manner. That is, they were simply grabbed on the streets, brought to this room, right to the main office of the SBU in Kiev. I want to remind everyone that during this period, murders and kidnappings took place in the country every day. Many remained in the basements of the SBU. For example, from March 2nd to March 3rd, the SBU liquidated Kiria, a member of the negotiating group. The authorities gave the green light to liquidate politicians, negotiators, and anyone who would stand in their way. As we later found out, 2 SBU officers arrived at the checkpoint. Shapovalov Denis and Nagornyuk Alexander, with the purpose of liquidating me. Of course, at that moment, I could not even imagine that it was already the beginning of the plan to implement my liquidation, for which Zelenskyy and Yermak gave the go-ahead. The plan was to be implemented by Viktor Durovsky, the head of the Odessa SBU. Before that, as people's deputy and a member of the law enforcement committee, I called the head of the Odessa regional SBU, the same Viktor Durovsky, and told him that at night, at the checkpoint, 2 of his employees committed a crime. And one of them, Denis Shapovalov, wanted to use a weapon against me and other people who were at the checkpoint. To which the head of the SBU replied to me, "Yes, yes, you're still alive, son of a bitch, and you don't have long left. We'll kill you, cut your head off," and much more. "We will kill you for everything you do." Driving up to a checkpoint in a cargo bus, which I usually use to deliver aid, my car was stopped and surrounded by a huge group of people in full gear with machine guns. Several people were sitting at the corners of the road, and their machine guns were aimed at me. There were split seconds left before the shooting. I was saved by the fact that I was not alone in the car. There were 3 of us, and 2 of my assistants, official assistants to the People's Deputy of Ukraine. And 2 seconds later, they simply grabbed me and my assistants, kidnapped them. They put a bag over my head, wrapped my entire head, legs, and arms with tape. They beat me severely, with rifle butts, feet, and hands. I lost consciousness. I came to, as far as I could understand, on the floor of the bus. I was lying on the floor, and there were feet on me. The feet were in the boots of the very same people who had kidnapped me. My body hurt terribly. Everything was bound with zip ties, handcuffs, and tape. As soon as I came to my senses, they started beating me, kicking, punching, yelling all sorts of nonsense. I pretended to lose consciousness and listened to what they were saying to each other and began to roughly understand where they were taking me. They were discussing on the phone that they hadn't been able to squeeze me. In response, they were shouting into the phone that they were idiots and would be sent to the front. About 15 to 20 minutes later, they threw me out of the van and took me to the basement. They threw me on the cold and wet floor. Somewhere nearby, I heard the screams of my friends. A little further, the screams and groans of other people and the terrible sounds of torture. To be honest, I heard nothing like that in my life. I was lying on the cold concrete floor, face down on the floor. They started wrapping me with tape again, tightening my legs and arms with zip ties. The first time I couldn't see much. When the last tie tightened, they started kicking me and beating me with rifle butts. They walked on my body, ran back and forth, stepped on my arms and legs, twisted my fingers, and cheerfully shouted, "Where else are you going to jump on a people's deputy?" After that, they took me to the office. In the office, they sat me down on a chair and interrogated me. They tried to beat some kind of testimony out of me, called out the names of people I did not know. They accused me of treason and working with the Russians, although I did not know of or have done anything like that. They said a lot of other things, all sorts of nasty things in relation to me and my family. They beat me terribly. I lost consciousness several times and fell from the chair, came to, and again tortured. It seemed to me that it was endless. They called more and more people into the office, and more people, SBU employees, practiced their blows on me. Many came into the office and did not believe that Dmytruk was bleeding unconscious on a chair. For such cases, they untwisted the tape on my neck and lifted the bag up to the level of my nose. At that moment, my nose had already been broken several times, and the blood was simply pouring out like a fountain. After the beating and torture, they moved me as if to throw me off the roof. They pretended that I was standing on the edge of the roof and that they were about to throw me off. Then their plan changed, and they decided to shoot me. Of course, all this was accompanied by skillful stories and tales. Having brought me to the shooting, they reloaded the guns and led me from wall to wall. At this time, their phone rang, and they agreed on what to do with me, since there was a rumor and others began to look for me. They were given an order to beat out the testimony they needed by any means. After long and painful interrogations, not getting what they wanted, they transferred me to another office and wanted to first make me disabled, deprive me of my genitals, and then light cigarettes on them. At this time, a call came in, and they were ordered to urgently change their strategy. I was taken to the SBU gym. Then they sat me down on a chair that stood on the mats in the gym, removed the bag to the level of my nose so that my mouth could be seen and I could speak. They wiped the blood off of me and started filming it. On the video, they made me say all sorts of nonsense, that I would never criticize Zelenskyy, Yermak, and the government in general again, that I would not engage in politics or engage in public activities. They demanded that I say all this loudly and clearly, the way I said it on TV. Later, they made me say something about Trukhanov and the city council, that I would no longer come to meetings and so on. The SBU has this video, so go ahead, post it. Post these videos publicly, especially since you have threatened to do so more than once. Let's watch it together, how you carry out torture. They also forced me to be an SBU agent to fight Zelenskyy's opposition. All this time, the barrel of a machine gun was driven into my back, and the bag continued to hold tightly to my head. After that, they loaded me into a van and began to drive me all over the city, looking for where to record a video with me to justify their actions. Well, like you know, it's so fashionable with the SBU to record a video with a person who says that he will not do this again, glory to Ukraine, glory to the SBU, etc., etc. To say that the SBU did not beat me, it was I who fell or fought with someone. They put me against the wall, removed the bag. My face was in terrible condition and bruised. My right eye did not open at all. The left one hurt terribly, since one of the types of torture was also that they squeezed out my eyes, a very unpleasant procedure. You can pay attention to my head. My skull was deformed. Then one of the SBU officers told the boss that we cannot make a video with him or social networks. We broke him badly. After that, they put the bag on my head and took me to the office. In the office, they took the bag off. I couldn't walk on my own. I saw SBU officers in the office, SBU investigator Alexander Gubsky, who interrogated me. The man holding the machine gun over me, who is in gear, and several other people. At that time, SBU officers went to search the homes of my assistants. They beat him up. They went to his home to look for drugs, weapons, and a Russian flag. Everything was as usual. They didn't find anything, but they recorded themselves and their actions on my surveillance camera. At that time, I was in the basement. After prolonged torture, I was taken out of the central building of the SBU in Odessa, put on a bus on which I was delivering aid, and told, "Tell anyone anything, we will kill you and all your loved ones." I said that I could not go on my own. They took me to the next street, threw me out in the parking lot near the restaurant, which is located near the SBU, across the street. I took my phone, and I dialed the first number that was in my calls. My friends took me away. This episode was included in the criminal case and in the accusation that was announced against me, and for which Zelenskyy wants to extradite me in order to kill or imprison me. In this case, one detail is very important. This is the day and time when I was interrogated by SBU officers in the SBU building in Odessa from March 4th to 5th at midnight. By doing so, they themselves confirmed my presence and torture in the Odessa SBU. Again, there are thousands of stories like mine. There are people who have been sitting in the basements of the SBU for more than 2 years. There are people who were killed in the first days of the war, who were killed later. There are people who are being killed now. Territorial Recruitment Center, Military Registration and Enlistment Office employees. Did it break me? No. It only strengthened me. We are moving only forward. Thank you all for your support, for watching this video. I ask you to distribute this video so that as many people as possible can see it and learn about Zelensky's Ukraine, what Zelensky's regime is. Zelensky's regime does not have much time left, and our work is evidence of this.